Which one of the crafted weapon is better for your characters, and which one should you focus your energy, your materials, and your time into crafting? We're gonna answer all these questions in this video. Hey everyone, this is Zoras, not Casuals. Today, I want to talk about the crafted weapons that you can craft at the blacksmith. Now, as you know, there are 2 weapons of every type. So there's 2 polearms, there's 2 one-hand swords, there's 2 bows, there's 2 claymores, as well as there's 2 catalysts for the casters. Now, of course, there are a lot of other 4-star weapons that are available in the game from the Wish, but for players who are not able to unlock them or are not getting good lucks and unlock them, the best option will often be the crafted weapon. Now, why is that? Because over the course of your game, you'll be able to accumulate these prototypes over and over and over again so that you can craft these weapons up to 5 times and thus making it able to refine it 5 times. And you will then be able to increase this ability that is written in blue up to a refinement level 5, which is going to be sometimes 5 times better than what you see right now. The best example for this is the prototype Animus. When you are at refinement rank 1, you do 240% attack damage. Now, when you're at refinement rank 5, you'll do almost 500% attack damage. Now, the difference is literally double. And in this case, the crits that you'll do at 500% can go up to 10,000 every time. Now, before we go into which one is better than the other, I want to talk about how you can get more of these weapons, because obviously it's not going to be so easy to obtain dozens of copies of these prototypes. So the only real way that you can get these materials are from the weekly world bosses. Now, there is Storm Terror up here, as well as there is the Wolf boss. Now, you can see that in their loot table, they have a chance of dropping one of these prototypes. Now, as you increase your world level, you will be having better and better luck with getting more of these, and you will have obviously almost one every week from these bosses, and hopefully you can get 2 every week if you get 1 from each boss. Now, you will also get some of these items from quests, and you can also get one of them specifically here from the Abyss. If you go here, you will get 1 of the Polearm prototype. Now, the only other way to obtain these other than the world boss, quest, and the Abyss is when you visit these vendors in both cities. Now, the one in Moonstad actually sells only one kind. She sells this one, the sword prototype. And the same vendor like this in Liu sells 1 of every type that you can purchase 1 time each. Now, if we go in the blacksmith, of course, in either city you can talk to the blacksmith. You just ask to make something, and this is where you're going to be able to craft these using your prototypes. They all have the same exact cost of 50 crystal and 50 white iron chunks. So when you are around in the world, really look out for crystals, especially because they are very hard to accumulate in large numbers if you're not farming them actively. Now, I'm going to go over these weapons quickly to tell you which one you should probably look for which kind of characters. Of course, the main thing that I look for when I craft or use a weapon is the statistic that is available here. So for example, this one gives HP as its base stat, and this one gives Elemental Mastery as its base stat. So there's not going to be really a clear cut of which weapon is better than the other, because it will depend on who you want to equip for. For example, if I want to have a weapon for Barbara, which her heal scales off her HP, this one is going to be a much better choice than the other, because of course, it will give me HP as a base stat, and as well as you can see that this here is an additional healing kind of thing. So this is obviously the best weapon for any kind of healer that you can craft. Now, this weapon, while not being good for healer, is going to be great for Elemental Mastery based casters, which basically means that you're casting your E and your ult all the time, and you're getting a lot of like special effects such as Overload, Melt, all this kind of stuff. Every time you do this kind of damage, this is where the Elemental Mastery is going to come into hand. Now, of course, this also makes it so that you're going to get elemental damage bonus for 10 seconds. So an offensive caster that gets a lot of elemental reaction will do best with this book. A healer or character that has HP as its main stat will do well with this one. Now, if we go into the polearm, there's something very special about the polearms. Now, this one has energy recharge, so you're going to get access to your ult and your E more often. And this one has physical damage bonus, which is going to be more for people who do white damage. So when you're auto-attacking the damage that is not elemental, that is white, this is going to be boosting that. Now, there has been some tests done on these, and Crescent Pike usually comes out far ahead for the only spear used in the game right now, which is Xiangling. Now, she is the only one that can use spears, And for now, this one is much better because most of her damage actually comes from physical damage auto attacks. And this ability here is basically up 100% of the time because you're getting a lot of elemental orb particles with her. So you're basically an increased 20% attack damage every single second all the time while you're using this spike. Now, the more you refine it, the higher this will go, and this will really be a huge damage boost to your Xiangling. And when the new spear users come out, if they are based on physical damage, this will also probably be one of the best spear that you can use on them. Now, the prototype Grudge is not bad. It will be good also if you use Xiangling as a support character, where you don't attack with her, but you just switch on her and use her abilities. Then you will be using this because it will make it so that her abilities are up more often. And this will just be a small boost that will be probably useless because you're not going to be using that much because you're going to be switching off of her. But this is still going to be probably a better option. And there are also better options in the Wish. Now, when we go into the one-hand sword, we have basically the same thing. We have a physical damage based one that increases your attack and defense when you're hitting. So you need to do a lot of auto attack hits. Now, characters like the Traveler and Jean do a lot of this, and this is good for them. But you also have the Iron Sting here, which increases your elemental mastery. So this will be good for any caster that uses the sword. And this will, of course, increase your elemental damage that you do by 6% for 6 seconds and can stack twice. So as you're playing that character, if you do a lot of elemental damage, you'll have an increased damage by 12% all the time. And as you refine it further and further, this will be much more than 12%. So this is obviously going to be very good on any sword user that does a lot of casting and abilities. And this will be better on sword users that do a lot more physical white damage when auto-attacking. Now going into the bow, the prototype Crescent is an attack bow, which is one of the main stats for a lot of bow users. So this is a very good bow. Now this means that you need to do aim shots on weak points, and then you can increase your movement speed and attack by a huge percentage for 10 seconds. Now there's not a lot of bow users that you use to do a lot of charge attack because especially in the Abyss, it is actually quite hard to fully charge an attack without getting killed or getting attacked. But if you are using a lot of auto attack like that, or if your character is based on the attack stat, this will be a decent bow for them. On the other hand, the compound bow does physical damage bonus. Now, this means you don't do any charge shots. You just do auto attacks. You just click your left mouse or your attack button many times without actually going into the charge attack. This will be a very good bow for them. Now, this means that normal attacks hits increase your attack and your attack speed for 6 seconds by a small percentage that stacks. Now, this stacks up to 6-ish% right now. And if you refine this bow, this will stack to much higher numbers. And this is, in my opinion, the big winner here in the two bows, because this will mean that if you're using that bow character as a main damage dealer, this will make tremendous amount of damage, and attack speed and attack is usually really good for these characters. So characters such as Fischl, which is often used as a main damage dealer and does a lot of auto attack, this will be the best bow you can craft for her. Now, this one will not be bad. For example, a character like Venti, which you will switch on to basically just do the ult and stuff, that will stack off of the attack and not the physical damage. So this will make it so your abilities actually do a little bit more damage. But there are better bows out there that will be giving elemental mastery and elemental cooldown reduction, which probably will be better for support characters. So in my opinion, the compound bow is probably the best bow you can craft here for the usage that you're going to make out of an archer. Now, last but not least, probably the most requested and asked questions on our videos and on our stream is which one of the two Claymore is better. And in my opinion, the prototype Animus is the winner here. Now, there are very good 3-star weapons that do a similar effect here. And these are also very good because you can refine them very well and do a lot of damage. Now, the difference is that the 4-star weapon, the higher level you bring it, so when it's level 60 or 70, the base attack here and the base attack here will be very high and will outclass any 3-star weapon. This obviously becomes more true as you refine this weapon. Now, I said a little bit earlier that this, when it's fully refined, the 240 becomes almost 500. And on my character personally, I'm getting crits of like 6,000-7,000 from this effect every 15 seconds in AoE, which means a lot, especially in the Abyss when there's like 10 slimes around you. If you are doing this as an AoE, you're going to do a 5,000, 6,000, up to eventually 10,000 plus crits on every one of these slimes that are surrounding you. So this is going to be having a huge bonus in that way, as well as most Claymore users actually are scaled completely off the attack percentage here, and this will be very strong for them. Now, if we're going to Whiteblind, it is of course not a terrible weapon, but it has defense here, which is completely useless for every character except Noelle right now. So this is going to be something that you use on Noelle and almost no one else. None of this is terrible, it's just really not anywhere near as good as this one. So if you're going to be crafting a two-hand Claymore, you're going to be crafting this one, and once you have it refined at rank 2, 3, 4, and hopefully 5 one day, this will be probably one of the best weapons for burst damage for characters such as Diluc and Razor, only being outclassed by the 5-star Claymores that also have attack here and also boost this, and possibly the Battle Pass Claymore, which is not as good because it doesn't have attack percentage here, but has very strong effect now. So the testing will have to be done to evaluate which one will give more damage output. But for free-to-play players that are just looking to craft a weapon, I would really go with the prototype Animus. Now, the last thing I want to mention here is that when you're crafting these weapons, be careful of here, the support character that you can use. If you look, for example, if you have a Diluc, now having Diluc refunds 15% of the ores used when crafting. Now, this will add up to a lot of ores in the long run. So there obviously isn't a character for every type of weapon. For example, I have nothing that boosts the bow crafting, but there are a few characters out there that boost crafting here. So just be on the lookout for them because that will basically save you a little bit of resource time for farming. Now, the last point I want to mention is that you should really be careful not to craft these two items specifically because you do not want to use your crystals nor your white iron to create these enhancement ores because you will need hundreds of them to craft 5 weapons of one type, and eventually if you're going to craft more than one of these, you're going to need so many ores that you do not ever want to craft any of these two. Now this one is less important because there's really not much used in the iron, so this one you can go ahead and craft, but I would still be very careful because you do not want to use ores that you might need in the future, and it is really not that worth it because this really doesn't do much at all compared to getting a stronger weapon. So guys, that's about it for my guide. Of course, there are plenty of 4-star weapons that you can get from different systems such as the Wish and Chest and stuff, and some of them will definitely be better than some of the crafted weapons, but I'm making this video solely just to have the information available for players who do not have the luck or the money to invest to get a lot of wishes, and if you have only crafted weapons, this is going to be the best you can do. Now, at the end of the day, most of the crafted weapons will be some of the best 4-star weapons in the game, simply because you can craft them over and over and get refined weapons up to 5 a lot easier than wishing them over and over, because that is completely luck-based and you might be waiting months before you get your 4th or 5th copy of said weapon. Alright guys, if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments of this video, or come and tune in when we live stream every single day and ask us your questions there. Or as well, you can join our Discord, which has a very big growing Genshin community, and come and ask us your questions directly on there. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if this content has been useful to you, because first of all, it really helps us, and second of all, it means that we can keep pumping out guides like this for Genshin every single day for you guys, and hopefully help you learn this amazing and beautiful game. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.